It's a time-honored tradition, passed down from generations. And even though we don't know what tomorrow holds, we can do our part today to ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. Join today and help us ensure the future.
Well, welcome to episode number 36, according to Flint, and moving back inside the arena this year, and been looking forward actually to having the 2016 PBR World Champion, a man of many talents. It's Mack's dad, Cooper Davis. You're like the third most popular member of your family in a house of three.
That's what I tell everyone. Yeah, I used to be the coolest guy, and now I'm not even the third coolest guy in the house. And if you count the cat, I'm probably the fourth. So.
Oh yeah, I know how that is. Yeah, my girls have a cool dog, so I get it. But I think people come to me sometime because my girls, in these last couple of years, my girls have been successful in college rodeo and singing, and they do some stuff at the football games. They lead the team out on horses, and people come to me as if I'm offended, like, how you liking that? Your girls are more famous than you. Damn right. Like that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I mean, they've kind of created their own path, and Mack's so fun to watch. And I don't know. That's what I live for. That's the coolest thing in the world to me is to see them make their own way.
Yeah. Mack, your man, Mack Davis, which it did take me a while that you guys didn't even know that at one time there was a famous country singer named Mack Davis. And
yeah, I had to show him the other day the song, and I don't know, he's pretty impressed by it.
You know what I like, and this says a lot about you and Caitlin, though. He's been around forever, so he just gets it. He's not like obnoxious. He's not one of those kids that always wants some. Just like, hey man, how you doing, Flint? What's up?
He loves the whole thing, the whole PBR thing, but he does like a spotlight a little bit. Anytime that you walk over there, he gets all excited about it and has to tell me after. So he does like that.
He's not afraid to be on camera. I get that. I understand. There's nothing wrong with that, Coop.
Not at all. I'm glad he takes it off of me sometimes.
Just as we do this, as we record this episode, you and I both just got back from kicking off the year in Indianapolis. We were talking before we started recording. What a great thing. Year to year, I don't know about you guys. I never know what to expect, like crowd-wise, excitement-wise, especially this year. Indianapolis, the Indiana people came out in hordes of people. That's a good feeling for you guys when you walk out of that locker room and go, all right, here we go. Little excitement.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been a part of the PBR forever, and that's probably the biggest crowd I've seen since I've been a part of it. And, I got chills walking out there and seeing it was full, and that pumps us up to walk out there and see the crowd like that. So I mean, it was awesome to see that many people there.
We had of course questions I'm going to have to answer. We had Nate Justice and Nathan Harp fighting bulls there along with Lucas Teodoro. They had never, I don't think either of them had ever done a UTB event. They had done velocity, and they walked out and went, man, there's people sitting all the way up there.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's good, when they're in the top row. So even guys like that, I don't know if fans understand that we do pay attention to that. You guys as riders, especially me, but you guys do, don't you?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we feed off the crowd a lot more than people realize. When people are out there cheering and having a good time, it causes us to have a good time as well. And, coming short round time, it'll definitely bring out a little extra try in you too when you got that many people watching you.
Yeah. Speaking of short round, you weren't in it.
No, there wasn't.
But here, I said this about, there was a few people that if you get bucked off, that to me, I always look at how you look, because I've seen this stuff on TV, Coop. So I kind of know what I'm seeing. I thought Boudreaux Campbell, first guy out, draws a bucker. He walked out, looked at me and said, I felt good. He just bucked me off. I thought Jess looked good. Jess Lockwood, he got bucked off. I thought you looked good. How's you physically? Did you feel like, all right, I bucked off, but I got a pretty good start going?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this time of year, everybody's been off for 6 weeks, and the timing's just off on some of us that, don't just go and get on a bunch of practice pools throughout the week. And Jess and I talked about that a little bit. Once we get our timing back down, we feel better than ever. And that has a lot to do with it. Just getting back in the groove of things and being there. And if you feel good, that's half the battle. But once you get your timing back down, that's when it all works out.
I had a long talk before we did this morning with your agent, and he says you need to prepare better.
Yeah,
you need
sure.
The conversation. He said he talked to you too. He said, yeah. Man, I just talked to Coop. That guy needs to prepare. He needs, he can go, that guy. You're Brandon Bates. That's your agent.
I've been at this 100 years, and you can prepare and do all that you want to, but sometimes we're human. We get bucked off.
I know, weird, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the deal. It's frustrating at times, but I'm not worried about it right now.
You know what helps you guys that get bucked off? I've learned, and I just want to put this out there to all the fans. You guys that do this for a living, like when fans give you tips, like if you're in a slump, you love when the fans tell you what you should be doing, don't you?
Yeah, like my wife. She tells me all the time what I could have done differently, and Mack's been watching long enough now. He thinks he can give me a few pointers too. So feedback's always good.
Is Mack consistent with his pointers? Like how old is he now? Is he 6?
He's 6.
So what would be a Mack Davis common tip that he would give his dad to ride a bull?
It's mostly just, you should have stayed on that one, Dad, or maybe you should have kept your hand shut, or you got your free arm way up or something like that. I mean, he's pretty good. I try to take it into consideration.
Keep your hand closed. It's easy.
Yeah, it's
Keep your hand closed. If I ever need tips, I'll ask Mack. So, but you have a huge home life. Mm. That is when I, talk to you about, you should prepare, you should do this. The one thing is that means a lot to you. What you have going, whatever you have going this week in that house with your family is the hugest part of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why I do what I do. And the time from November to January for me to take off and kind of refresh, that is preparing for me. It doesn't mean that I don't go to the gym and take care of my body as well, but refreshing, just not being at an event every weekend, that's the biggest part of coming back and feeling good, I guess.
That you bring up a good point, not being at an event. I think probably as I've gotten older and right now, I mean, just coming off Indy, I can work out and stuff, but it's different in the arena. Like my body hurts.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I get tired up here. And if you don't step away from it and leave it over on that table somewhere, your mind just gets tired.
Yeah.
Especially after you've been doing it a while, you have to set it down for a while, don't you?
Yeah. For 6 weeks, I take all bull riding and thinking about bull riding away. And for a long time I didn't. And you could tell at my riding from about 17, 18, 19, I felt this pressure that I just had to be the greatest. I had to come out and just be at the top of my game. But when I realized that, thinking about it all that time and that being the only thing that I thought about, that wore me out to a point that I didn't want to be there. And, once I could step away, as you could see at the end of 2020, when I really got to have 6 months off and breaking my neck, I rode really good. And that's why.
Looking, and I want to come back to that, but looking way back, the other story I have heard and know, it was kind of summer of 2015. First of all, I want to say this. Through my career, first World Finals I did was 1997. So
yeah,
you were not there that year. But through my career, I can see new guys come along and go, ooh, he's going to be really good. I remember when Chris Shivers came along and Justin McBride and JB Mooney. They're not necessarily that they won the first time. You can see it. Like, that guy's going to be around. You were not one of those guys. Mm-hmm. And I mean that's a compliment to what you have done. But about the summer of 2015, that's when you decided to become one of those guys. That's
Yeah.
where between a certain point and the world finals, it was all about preparing for the world finals. That's the story of you losing 35 pounds. You became that guy. What clicked that you wanted to be that guy?
You know, going and falling off and, you know, really wasn't something I'd never had to work at it. I'll just say that I was always good from the time I put my hand in a bull rope. I was always able to make the whistle. But when I made the transition in PBR, it didn't happen like that. I couldn't be overweight and just go stick my hand in the rope and still win. But then Lambert and, you know, JW, they came up to me and told me there were 3 fat guys standing over there, and one of them was entered tonight riding bulls, and it was me. You know, that lit a fire under me. You know, I knew I was good. I knew I was good enough to be there, but you know, you can't just sit on the couch and expect for things to change. And once I started working towards a goal of losing weight, and you know, all the riding just came with it. And from the summer to the finals that year, there was a lot of hard work that ended up paying off.
Yeah. And I should clarify for people watching, I had seen you at the NFR. You know, I knew you. I knew who you were. Your hair was longer. Your face was rounder. And I've heard that story get told of 3 fat guys, and people go, oh, like it's an insult. We're not messing around here. Like, the other thing that happens when you're that size, when you do get bucked off, you hit like a sack of shit sometimes.
A lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was more of it motivated you. So apparently they said something right, but funny that year, Bates, you know, the Calcutta is a big deal at the PBR finals. Was it Cody Hebert went to Bates and said, who should I buy in this Calcutta? And Bates said, put all your money on Cooper Davis. He said, that's nuts. That's no way. And he did. And he won like 15 grand off you. Did you know that?
Did the same thing. Yeah. There was at the NFR one year, the odds were like 15-1. My grandpa went and put $1,000, and he ended up winning 15,000 the last round of the NFR. So, but yeah, I remember Bates telling me that story about Hebert, and you know, all that's really neat to me. I've never been one of the guys that gets offended by somebody critiquing me or giving me advice or anything like that. I'm never too good to learn or get any better. So,
I don't remember how many episodes it was. I had Jackie Crawford on. You know Jackie Crawford?
Oh yeah.
Just maybe one of the greatest female ropers ever. She said something, and that's when I first went, I need to have Cooper on, because she said something that completely, to me, embodies who you are. Because I think you're interesting. I always try to figure you out, and hell, I've never figured you out. But she said, and a lot of people say it, but just the way she said it, she said, I would tell young people, she was talking about other girls and rodeo in general. She said, I would tell people, never forget that rodeo is what we do, but it's not necessarily who we are. So don't let it define everything you do in life. And I instantly thought, you know what? I got to have Coop on, because if I had to pick a guy in the PBR, which I have, that embodies that, there's just more to you. This is what you do, but it's not all the time. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm a bull rider on the weekends, but the reason that I ride bulls is to be able to take care of my family and to spend that time with them. So, you know, I don't want that to be the person that they remember when I'm gone. It's my attitude and the things that I was able to bring to the table for the guys behind me and things like that. I mean, that's what really inspires me to keep going, not necessarily just going and winning another world title.
But it's a business to you. I don't know if here's sometimes not really the issue, but probably the issue I've had with Western sports in general, Western lifestyle, rodeo in general. People always talk about, we want cowboys to make more money.
Yeah.
But then when you make money, you're a sellout, or it's hard to win in the public eye. But this is a business to you, isn't it? And you treat it like a business in a lot of ways, which I can bring up, but it is a business, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything that I've made bull riding is to go past my career, basically. I mean, it's gone to a wedding venue, things that were able to make me money after riding bulls. And when I show up on the weekend, I expect to win, and putting in the work on the week. Yeah, I mean, that all comes to a head at the weekend. But yeah, I mean, whenever you're, I guess, have had the career that I've had, I guess, it's really easy to get complacent and say, okay, well, I've done enough. But in this career, we only have one shot at it. And yeah, there's been times I wanted to retire and go do something else, but it just comes back as, I don't want to be the guy that quits too soon and have regrets.
Tell me about the wedding venue. Is that fairly new? You guys kind of just did it. Tell me about that. And hey, there's people out here listening that may need a wedding venue.
Absolutely. Yeah. We built the wedding venue last year in the heart of COVID, which you would think would have been a terrible time to do it. But no, I mean, it's been really great. We're booking about 30 weddings a year, and, breaking my neck wasn't a good thing, but if I was going to break my neck and have to break it, last year was a good year because I got to oversee a lot of that stuff, that the building process and everything. But yeah, our wedding venue is called Rain Hills. It's about 7,000 square feet, and it's in Lumberton, Texas. And my wife handles a lot of the bookings on that.
Do you stand back and go, Caitlin, if we could move this here, like, you intense like that? Like,
whenever we were building it, yeah. I mean, I'd have my ideas and they'd have to go through the boss lady first. But yeah, no, she's pulled a lot of the weight on this venue thing.
But I do want to say this before I keep going. Your wife is, oh my God, she is, for one, that kid's mom. Your wife's a sharp cookie, man. Oh, she's got stuff going on. Don't leave, Mack.
Yeah, I got lucky with her in more ways than one. She's good looking. She's smart. And she's made her own way in the world. So I'm proud to
Hey, Mack.
have her.
Hey, Mack.
Sir?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Good.
You always remember me, right? I mean, we're buddies, right? Hey, do you watch your dad and he'll get bucked off? And do you just like do this? Like, he screws up where you can give him tips and do better?
You can tell.
I just get P word.
He gets P word.
He gets P word.
Yeah.
You do, huh? So, but hey, hey, Mack, just curious. Like, there's certain guys I watch that I want them to do so good, I get nervous. Like, I get nervous for Jess. I get nervous for your dad, because I think it's always good when they do get. When your dad's riding, are you excited or are you nervous? Are you afraid for him ever? Or do you just know he'll take care of himself? What do you think?
I'm kind of afraid because I don't want him being stepped on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I get that. And then your P word when he gets bucked off, right?
Yes.
When he wins and makes a bunch of money, do you get nice stuff?
Most likely he gets it.
Well, it's always good. Hey, when am I going to see you, Mack? When are you coming?
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City?
Yes, sir.
All right. Come and say hello. Don't leave me hanging there in Oklahoma City. Okay, Mack?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See you. He just wanders in, wanders out. No big deal.
Yeah.
Has any of your friends used your wedding venue yet?
Not yet. We've got a couple that just got engaged, and the first wedding was my sister-in-law. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but as far as bull riders, there's been a few that talk about it. They're just getting engaged, and hopefully they get married at Rain Hills.
Can't spill the beans on us yet for us?
Not yet. I don't want to overstep their boundaries.
In kind of what we were talking about, how most of our fans, I just had this discussion with somebody. I get a lot of questions as if that everything, much like you, that everything I do is about PBR and bull riding. Like, hey, what do you hear from JB? Do you ever talk to Jess? Well, no, it's supposed to be, we're supposed to be all consumed with it. And that is what makes us good, is we have at points been consumed. But I think one of the things when cowboys get hurt, the big thing is, oh, cowboys are so tough. They ride through injuries. They don't sit out. Mostly that's out of necessity, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah. We don't get paid unless we go stick our hand in the bore rope and stay on. Right now at the finals, I separated my shoulder and I'm still not 100%, but I'm not going to go make a big fuss about it because it doesn't do any good. But yeah, I mean, there's times that we're hurt. We have to go get on, and it's not out of toughness. It's out of, that's our living.
But I see you now. Right now, you're not 100%, but there's been things come up where you're hurt and we haven't really heard about it, but you're not at an event. I think of all the guys, you tend to take care of yourself in that aspect a little more, where if you got, I think you had some hand issues and different things, and we see Cooper Davis out, and I'd hear people, oh geez, where's Cooper?
Yeah.
Sometimes you come out ahead if you just take care of yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you watch other sports, football, baseball, anybody like that, sure, they're on a salary, but at the same time, they have to take care of their body to be the best. And that's kind of the way that I've seen this sport. And that's where I treat it like a business. If I'm hurt, and I'm not at the top of my game, it doesn't do me any good to show up and hurt myself worse. So if I have to take out a few weeks and really heal up, so I feel competitive with those guys like Jose, I'll do it. I don't think twice about it.
Yeah, but fans don't want you to be hurt and go to the beach. If you're hurt, you're supposed to be like in bed with an IV in you. Yeah. Do you ever find that? Like Cooper's hurt one weekend and, hey, nice week at the Bahamas or what? I'm just throwing that. And people are like, oh man, too bad, right?
Oh yeah. McBride, JW Hart, they'll all get on there and have something to say about it, but it's my decision. I've learned to just kind of laugh about it and roll on. It doesn't bother me anymore. Used to, I'd get on the phone and call and be like, hey man, like what the heck? And they're like, oh, I got it's TV, so I don't care.
Yeah. Why not be there instead? You be up here with me where it's 20 below zero. You can't heal up for it.
No,
I get injured. What's that?
It's cold at my house today. It's 20 degrees.
Hey, big news. It's colder at your house than it is here. We're 40 today. We were 18 below zero, 40 today, and supposed to be 15 below zero again. So
that's way too cold.
You Texans, you just don't understand.
Yeah, we had one storm last year, ice storm. You'd have thought it was all in for us.
Hey, you brought up, just in passing, Jose Vitor Lemy. The worst question anyone can ever ask is talk about such and such. But just when you think of Jose Vitor Lemy, tell me about that guy. What about him?
He's an animal. There's no other guy that I've ever seen that whether he was hurt, not hurt, if he was there, there's a pretty good chance he's going to be 90 at least one of the rounds on any given bull. And a lot of people say, oh, the judges load him or whatever. But no, the guy's just so good. And that, I don't know. I mean, I can be one of those guys that can recognize somebody's talent and be amazed by it. So that's just where I'm at for a guy that hasn't rode bulls that long and be probably arguably one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. I'm astonished by him.
It would be easier to be critical if he was a dick, but he's such a good dude, man.
Yeah. No, he is. And, if he's hurt or whatever, I mean, we'll text each other, hey man, hope you're doing good. I like it when he's there. I ride better. I mean, people don't realize that, but whenever you show up and you feel like the rest of the guys don't have a chance to beat you, that's when they beat you. But when you show up and you have to beat Jose, that's when I feel like I'm at my best.
Hey, what can PBR fans decide it now? It used to be that the judges were screwing the Brazilian riders. Yeah. Because Mark and you hire and Jess hire and poor Jose. Now that Jose wins, have you noticed? You said it.
Yeah.
They mark him high. Oh, have to
Yeah.
make sure he's 90. Like, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Perception is so much of everything.
Yeah, it is, but I love it because, used to, they would say that about me, and then I would get hate mail from the Brazilian fans on my Instagram and stuff. But, everybody's got to have a favorite. And I appreciate that. I think it's great to be able to cheer on your guy and think that everybody else is being helped out when he doesn't win. So I think it's funny.
I tell people when he had those big scores last year, I'd get text messages, calls. Hey, what about that? Was he really 97 points? No, he was probably 98. Like,
Yeah.
I remember saying on social media, that's the greatest ride I've ever seen. Like, the two greatest rides I've ever seen were his two. You're right up there. I call it your ride, the greatest ride nobody saw. Because remember, as Cooper Davis on Smooth Operator in Atlantic City, and there's like 1,200 people there.
Yeah.
So that's right up there. I always liked JB Mooney on Pearl Harbor in Sioux Falls. Just the moment, everything. But it's funny when you say that's the greatest ride I've ever seen. And fans will argue, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I said that's the greatest ride I've ever seen. Like, how long have I been doing it? Is that funny how you can't even have an opinion now? And you're
No, you can't. Your own opinion's wrong. So, but no, I mean, there's, like you said, there's a few rides that will always stick out in my mind as some of the greatest ever. And even the highest marked ride of Jose's, I don't think was his best ride. I think the first time he ever rode Whoop-Ah at the finals, to me, that's the best ever. And my ride right there along with it. And JB, I mean, there's just so many good rides that we've seen, but there's only a few that really stick out. And that first one on Whoop-Ah to me was the best ride I've ever seen.
Yeah, but see, you're wrong. See, that's wrong.
Well,
I broke them down in slow motion. I thought the bull was better. The last. But it's hard. I'm kidding. I've always said, I've said it a lot on here that, the first time somebody goes to an NFL football game, the first thing they say is they're so much bigger and so much faster in person.
Yeah.
So our sport's the same. It's the exact same. You don't know how fast, how high that bull jumps unless you see it in person. Like, it's so different. People watch on TV and try to judge a bull ride different, and really in person, it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you're sitting there watching it on TV, you're only getting one angle, but sitting in an arena or on the back of the buck and shoots, and that bull's kicking just as high as the shoots, or it's a lot different. And, I've watched it on TV, and when I was a kid, I'd watch it on TV and think, man, that looks fun, but it looks easy. Well, once you're really a part of it, there's all but easy. So, yeah.
Hey, you said, I was thinking as you were talking, and I didn't say anything, but you said it was always easy for you.
Yeah.
To me, we used to, when I was coaching years ago on bus rides, I remember on track meet bus rides, all the coaches, we'd have discussions of what a real athlete, what it means to be an athlete. Mm-hmm. And some said, I'll never forget, one guy said, a true athlete is one that can score 30 points a game in basketball, but then he'll kick your butt in bowling or darts or pool, good at everything. When bull riding was easy, I always give the edge to guys who were good in other sports. There's a little edge there that I like. Were other sports easy for you too?
Yeah, I was good at football, pretty good at golf. I can snow ski, and I've only done it a few times. And it really aggravates everybody in my family because we'll go snow skiing or whatever, and I won't do it for years, and they'll be upside down on the mountain, and I'll be going down a black, So, but no, I mean, I've always just had like this natural talent for sports, and that's always fed over into my bull riding, because I tried to quit football one year. My coach and my dad, they wouldn't change my schedule before the school year started. I mean, it just, and I'm glad they did, because I learned a lot in other sports, not necessarily how to ride bulls, but the work ethic and everything that it took to be great. And I think that's the difference between people that play sports and are good at it and put the work in compared to guys that just want to ride bulls. I think we've had to work at other sports and know the determination and work it's taken to get there.
Yeah. I mean, little Jess Lockwood's an animal.
Yeah.
He was state champion wrestler.
Yeah.
He's an animal working out. You look at Jose, great soccer player.
Yeah.
Hey, right now, Mason Taylor was a great baseball player.
Yeah.
I always, and I did, because I was, believe it or not, Coop, I was a pretty good athlete. But, football, basketball, track, I think there's just this edge of knowing how to train and knowing how to win and that desire. I think that's probably what I lacked in playing sports, was that drive to just win, but just knowing how to train and what needs to be done to train. I think there's an edge there. Now don't get me wrong. That's not saying guys who didn't play any other sports aren't going to be successful. There's just an edge there.
Yeah. And right now, like my kids playing sports and things like that. And, they came home one day, or he came home one day and he's like, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. I'm like, yeah, it does. I was like, I don't care who told you that. It does matter if you win or lose. I mean, that's one thing that's being taught today that I just can't get with, because not caring whether you win or lose. I mean, what are you doing? What's your goal if you don't care if you win or lose? So, I think you're right though. It doesn't make you not as good at riding bulls or mean that you can't ride bulls or whatever sport that you want to play. But, I mean, you just have to have that work ethic.
They know, the kids know who wins. My nephews, when they were little and they'd play soccer and they don't keep score.
Yeah.
At the end of the game. Yeah. We won 15-8. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah.
But I'm all about competing and kids playing. Damn it. It does matter.
It does matter.
That's sport. That's
what the sport is. The winner and there's a loser. You got to learn how to win. You got to learn how to lose.
Yeah. Actually, my wife at the time, and to her credit, when my girls, I had one daughter run track and was very competitive, but the other one just rodeoed. But she told him, and I learned it from her, and I still tell him, if you're rodeoing and if you're riding bulls, you better learn. It isn't about learning to win. It's about learning to lose.
Yeah.
You do it with dignity.
You learn more about yourself when you lose. You figure out how to dig deeper. And, whenever I won, it was easy for me to get complacent. But when I lost, it just set this fire under me that I didn't want to be that guy. It hurts me more to lose than I get joy from winning.
All the great ones say that. Tom Brady says it. Cooper Davis says it. They all say it. Yeah, you can't, I don't know. And you lose more than you win. Look at, especially in today's world of the bulls you guys are riding, and I don't care what anybody says, nobody's gotten on bulls like this. Hey, if you might have a really great riding percentage at 48%, but the reality is you lost more than you won.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
So,
and last year was the greatest riding percentage I've had since I started. It was like 53% or something like that. So 1 year, 2 years, I've had a higher percentage in the bulls.
You won more than you lost, and you maybe didn't even win. Yeah. A lot of people last year, we went to some interesting places. The PBR, we did get to go. We got to work. There was some things changed. There was some places changed, and not to get too deep into it. Just so you know, this statement in this question goes more to the figure you become in a locker room. But you stood up. You were a guy that stood up for riders with some changes that were made in the format of the shows. You stepped to the forefront. First of all, I believe, as far as being culture and well-read, so to speak, you're probably one of the best I've seen in the PBR. But do you feel, is that a good feeling? Is it a burden, honor to be that guy in the locker room? You're that guy where guys look to you to say, Coop, help us out. We disagree with this. Can you help?
Yeah. And I really didn't realize that until this weekend. Dalton Castle and a couple other guys were sitting in the locker room. They said, how did you become the guy that handles everything? And I said, I just kind of sit there and thought about it. I was like, I don't really know. And I didn't want that role because I've never been outspoken. I've never really wanted to have any kind of role like that in my life. I just wanted to go ride bulls and go home and then not think about it. But the more I thought about it, I just wanted to help the guys coming up behind me, the younger guys that, were okay with just whatever was to come of, the schedule and everything like that. And, I thought about it, and that was what drove me to do it. I wanted to help everybody out, and we let them know that we did have a voice as to what was going to happen. And, they said, well, we appreciate that, you helping us out. And that meant a lot to me. But yeah, I mean, the PBR is always going to be the greatest platform for bull riding. And I guess, I don't know. It's a tough question to answer the right way, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get that. But
yeah,
I've never considered you outspoken. But I look back in other sports, an Eli Manning, or, I mean, there's been quarterbacks that their teammates will say, he doesn't say much, but he's just leading the way. And when something comes up, he does speak. You don't always have to talk.
Yeah, no. And I've always listened more than I talked or tried to. And, I mean, that's always, you learn more that way. And, yeah, I mean, the PBR's given me a life that I could only dreamed of 10 years ago. And it's still just getting better and better with this whole team thing that they've started. And, us as bull riders and the PBR, we have the best relationship we've had as friends and that I've ever, and being able to work together that I've seen since I've been here. So
good to know. On that same note, you don't speak a lot, you listen a lot, but you speak when you feel you need to. I've seen it with officials, with judges, when you disagree with a certain call getting put on the clock, or there's little things that, and in our sport, when every other sport, somebody has words with the ref.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't scar them. It doesn't ruin their reputation unless it's all the time. We're just not supposed to do that in this sport. Like, it's an untouchable thing. You're not afraid, man. I've seen you and you scare me a little bit.
No. Okay. Well, the deal is, I mean, it's okay to be able to talk if you can do it and kind of keep your composure about it. Yeah, there's been times I've probably lost my cool about some things, but also whenever you can talk about it and kind of see where other people are coming from and know that it's not a place of trying to, ruin their reputation or, maybe you disagree with their call, but, they were right. Well, there's been times I've been put on the clock that I know I was wrong. I was sitting in the chute too long, and I'll go back to them and say, hey, you put me on the clock. I was wrong. I should have nodded. But there's also been times where the bull's sideways, upside down, and, you're like, what the heck, man? Like, I had no shot to nod, and that's not fair. And I've seen it happen to other guys, and it kind of gives them a feeling of someone's speaking up for me, and they want it to be fair. And that's been my whole goal throughout this leadership role is for it to be fair for everyone and for everybody to feel like they have a voice. And if there's guys that have concerns or things that maybe they think could make the locker room better, and they come to me and say, hey, we think this should change, then yeah, I mean, I've got to be the voice that steps up and says, hey, let's talk about this. And if we can work it out, then let's do it. If not, then, it's ultimately it's their call.
Was that you at the World Finals this year, right at the end? Now, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, that got a reride at the end and got fouled. Was that you the last day or
No, not the last day. No,
it was, or was it the Saturday night? I'm trying to think of the whole situation.
Oh yeah. Okay. I remember what you're talking about. So the next to the last day,
right.
Moonlight
Okay.
Party. Yeah. He slipped and fell and actually hipped himself and drug me off on the gate. All kinds of things happened. There's a lot going on at once. Well, I was bent over in the bucket chutes and I couldn't, I was physically not able to go push the button. Like, I was hurt. Well, I told Mason and Dalton Castle, I was like, somebody go hit the button for me. Well, they did. Nothing ever came of it. So after the next rider, I went to Cody Lambert and I said, hey, Cody, I didn't physically hit the button, but I asked Mason to, and they never reviewed it. Well, Cody went over there and, discussed it with the judges, and he said, yeah, they hit the button, nothing happened. So they reviewed it and I got a reride. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like the PBR is not out to get you, but you got to be able to communicate with them. And that was I gave a lot of credit to Cody for stepping up and making the right call on that.
Yeah, and those are always the cases where fans will go, "Oh yeah, they did it for Cooper." They wouldn't. Not that I heard that, but those are the situations. It's.
No, I mean, I got social media for that, and does it bother me? Yeah, because people don't know the ins and outs of what's going on. They just see that I'm not their favorite bull rider, and they didn't see Jose or somebody else get a ride that they thought they should have, which I completely understand. But at the same time, like I was able to walk over there and communicate with them and say, hey, this is what happened. And earlier that week, somebody got a score and it was taken away. Do you remember that?
Okay.
Earlier in the week, someone was given a score. It was taken away. It was a young guy. It was his first time at the finals anyway. And after they reviewed it, he slapped him or lost his bull rope or something like that. Well, I went and, I said, hey, why did he get a score and then taken away? Well, come to find out, the judges have to put in their score regardless if it works out, if it doesn't. And so the judges had already marked the ride, but the review board or whatever's in Shetland looked at it and said, no, he slapped the bull. So my question was, how do you get a score and then take it away? And that was how. I mean, it wasn't.
So they had just called in their scores and it was posted before. It was posted
before, yeah. Okay. So everybody, the bull rider thought he had a score, and his question was, how can they take my score away?
Yeah.
So, there's just a lot of things that to the eye, you just don't know. I mean, you have to trust that they're doing right.
Yeah. The key to replay, and I look at it in the NFL, NBA, all the sports that have replay, all they're trying to do is get it right.
That's it.
Yeah. The key is to get it right. I've been amazed since we've had replay in these last however many years. What amazes me is how often those guys are right.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
They're precise.
It is. I think that's what people should focus on, is how much they are correct. Not just they judge the rides right. And we got some good ones.
Yeah.
But the time, like 7.83, replay. Yep. He slapped him at 7.80. It's like almost perfect every time.
No, and it's crazy. I mean, I've lost more than I've won on that replay deal. I mean, I've won one or two, but just like you said, every time that it's 7.65 or whatever. I mean, this past weekend I hit the button. It was 7.65. Well, I think it was like 7.7 when I actually slapped the bull. So I mean, they're good.
Hey, that was a dumb review, by the way.
Yeah, well,
come on. Do you have a lot of guys say if you're 7.5 or later, you should just review it. Or do you just go with it?
I just go with it. I mean, it's worth it's not worth losing $30,000 over points over that really could get you there. So if you have any doubt in your mind, I just say hit it.
You didn't hear what I said about yours this past weekend?
No.
That you reached out where they got you slapping was on the horn right here.
Yeah, I heard you.
And I said, listen, but that's scary. Like, if you think you need to put your hand out because that horn's there, that's worth something. Like, wave that. Like, that's scary. If it's really scary, they should waive the slap rule.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking out for you. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. See, that's
the greatest ride of all time that never got a score was Douglas on Bushwhacker.
That's right. I remember that at the World Finals. I remember which end of the arena it was on. How long? What was his time? 7.
It was like 2.6 seconds because he didn't really slap him pushing off of him, but the bull kind of came up into him and he just kind of brushed his neck. So
that's right.
So,
I remember. Good old Douglas Duncan.
Yeah.
Character, all-time character of the PBR. That guy. What is you brought it up? What's kind of, or can you share the consensus of, because a lot of fans are speaking out and don't understand, rider consensus of all of the scheduling, World Finals in May in Texas. This season right now is shorter. It's about 20 events. Then it's some team stuff. Overall, big picture. What's the tone of the Cowboys? A lot of questions, not sure, really happy. Can you share any of that?
Yeah, I think everybody's had a lot of questions. But Sean Gleason, our CEO, he's done a really good job of keeping everybody in the loop on what's going on and taking feedback from the guys. So a lot of the stuff that, has gone into effect, or this team thing, everybody in the locker room, I think, is really excited about it. I say everybody, I mean, everybody I've talked to has been really excited about it. They're looking forward to it. And there's a lot of benefits that are going to come about this that we don't have as riders now. They're talking about health insurance and things that, basically a lot of these guys can't get. I mean, it's just so expensive, and it's, and there's just a lot that goes on with it, but everybody is excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, even I have questions, and
yeah,
but make no mistake, I've talked about this a lot. That trying to get us a normal season
I
that
love
goes
that.
straight through. That's been talked about for years. They
Yeah.
tried it years ago, and the board at the time that had more control, that when there was kind of a board, voted it down, because that summer break, that comes from the tradition of when PBR started, and all those guys were rodeo guys. They wanted
Yeah.
to go to summer rodeos. That's
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah. No, and I mean the whole team thing and in the schedule. So when I first thought about it, I was like, man, that's a lot of bull riding for 5 or 6 months. But the more you think about it, every other sport's got a schedule, or like an actual season.
Right.
So, I think it's great that PBR is going to a actual season rather than a year-long thing. And this whole team thing, it's only going to bring out, the greatest in the guys. I mean, you're riding for a team now. You've got, so many aspects and different things that people depending on you. I mean, it's great. I really do think it's going to be great for the PBR.
Probably one of the hardest questions I answer, besides, now, what do you do for a living, is when I talk about PBR and people say, all right, well, what's your season? I'll be talking to a 35-year-old guy who follows basketball and football on an airplane going to LA. So what's your season? Well, we go from first of the year to the middle of May, and then we take a break in the summer, and there's other things going on. And then we start, you go, so you guys just go all year? It's like no season.
I just on a schedule when they ask me. I mean, because it's basically like a school schedule. You go January to May, then you're off for the summer, and then you're back again. I mean, it's just, it's a lot. It's hard to explain to people.
Yeah. Before I let you go, this last weekend, as we do this in Indianapolis, and we'll see now, we have a lot. It is a lot of bull riding coming up. You wonder, there's always something really cool happens at the World Finals. I always say it, something unusual. Somebody's either going to do real good or real bad that you don't expect. Mm-hmm. Mason Taylor kicked everybody's ass. I mean, he just impressed me. And then he picks up and wins Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That guy, I see a little of you in that guy. He's thin. Yeah, he broke his jaw. Nothing helps a diet like a broken jaw, but he's stayed thin. He's figured out something up here. He's not, he was kind of a fart head, and now he's just figured stuff out, hasn't he? For a young guy like that.
He has, and Falisco and all them, they've always asked me who I thought was going to be the next guy that really comes in and sets it up. And I've always said Mason. He's always had the talent, but he's always been a little bit overweight and never could figure it out between his ears. But, I think when you break your jaw and you have to get on with a broken jaw, you start worrying less about the riding and more about getting hit in the face. And that helps a guy. I mean, it sounds completely crazy, but you're not focused on just riding the bull. You're just worried about everything but that. And whenever you're not sitting there worried about it and consumed with it, it helps you riding, and then your confidence goes up, and that's where he's at right now. He's at an all-time confidence high, and I think he's going to be a contender for a world title this year.
Yeah, I like Mason. I do like where his mind is at. You're right on I think, hey, the most points I ever scored in a high school basketball game, scored 24 points. I had the flu really bad.
Yeah.
I used to have a good day teaching school if I was hungover. Not that ever happened, hypothetically. But what you are is you're focused on taking care of that. You're not consumed with all of this. It's all right there.
Yeah.
You see it all the time.
Yeah.
It
really does help a guy out.
What about Dalton Castle?
Dalton's really good. He's healthy right now. and I don't think he's ever had like a confidence issue or anything like that. I think he doesn't think too much about it. Keeps it pretty. So he's also another guy that's really really good.
Yeah. They're just, when I think of all the young guys right now, I always think of Mason, Dalton. I like little Austin Richardson. I think there's some really good talent there. I don't know. Right now, I think we're in a pretty good place with the tour and some guys to do something this year.
Yeah, the young guys on tour are really good right now, but it's the ones that are not quite old enough yet that I'm really excited about. A guy named Canyon Bass is really good, and Paulo's kid, Paulo Crimber, John Crimber.
John, yeah.
He's probably the best 16, 17-year-old kid that I've seen since Jess. And I'm fired up about that.
Before I let you go, tell me this. Is Mack, does he want to be a bull rider?
He says he does. Max says he wants to ride bulls, but I honestly think he's been around it so much. It's just second nature for him to say that he wants to do it.
I get that.
But you know, I don't push it on him. He's got a bull rope if he wants to do it and tells me, but I don't see him riding bulls.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you do? Because that just sparked something in me. What do you do when a fan comes to you and goes, "Oh my God, we're excited. This is my little boy. He's 8 and he wants to be a bull rider." What's your reaction?
A lawyer or a doctor. I mean,
you say what I do.
Yeah, go be a lawyer or doctor. It's not all fun and games.
Yeah. I never want to discourage it because we need to pass on our lifestyle and our Western heritage and all that. But fans always want me to be really excited for their kid. My kid wants to be a bull rider. He's 13 and we just started riding bulls. We're so excited. Basketball shoes are, they're about $90.
Yeah.
Golf clubs.
I'll say that, but then I followed up. No, if you really want to do it, you just don't start somewhere where you're not going to get good advice. That's the number one thing for me is if you're going to start with somebody that really knows what they're talking about, not, dad that used to ride bulls 30 years ago that, you got to lift on that bull rope. I mean, you got to really start with somebody that can help you out because you start bad habits, it's hard to break them.
Yeah. I've seen kids that my daughter and I were just talking about, some kids we knew that started like in high school, never went to a school, never really there's a lot to being good at this sport. And then automatically they've got on 50 bulls and they've ridden 2 and they're a bull rider. Yeah. That's, they can tell everybody at the bar, I guess.
I guess. I mean, there's a lot to it. And good advice goes a long way. So does bad advice. So it's just better to take the good advice first.
Man, that's a t-shirt right there. Good advice goes a long way, but so does bad. So, well, listen, Coop, I know through the years with our fans, I'm a real good judge of who the fans cheer for. When I first started, there was 3 or 4 guys in introductions that would get a loud cheer because nobody had ever heard of them. Now we've put guys on TV for 25 years and there's certain guys get louder than other, and you're one of those guys, and I cheer for you too. And I was sincere. I get nervous when you ride because we do better. Like, the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good, when the Raiders are good, when the Packers are good, Steelers, the PBR is better when Jess is good, Jose is good, you're good. So you're good for business, man. And I always appreciate seeing you and your family, and I just appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Same here. I appreciate it. And that means a lot. So thanks for having me on.
You got it. Hey, until next time, see you soon, buddy.
Yep. See ya.